Stay tuned to the end of this video for a special word to our patrons. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk FGO Wanted, the show where we let you know if you want to roll that 5-star. And also some of those 4 stars on the same banner, in this case. In case you can't tell, this is part 2 of the summer banner episodes, which nobody ever watches. If you want to go to part 1, just go 1 up in the playlist. There's a 1 up playlist, it's the one just before this one. If you want a normal Wanted episode where you get the full breakdown of history, lore, mechanics, and more, go back 2 episodes. And there's not really much else preamble here, so we're gonna scoot on into it. But first, holy shit, this is Wanted 100! I don't have anything particularly special to do in this case, because we're literally in the middle of an event right now, and also I have a little bit of a sore throat, but that's pretty heckin' cool. Show me some party hats or something in the comments. I thought about adding, like, a party blower sound in there, but I couldn't find a spot where it wouldn't be, like, really obnoxious or obvious, so we're just gonna skip it. You can imagine your own party blower. Anyway, the episode. So first, we're gonna talk about Summer Sei Shonagon. Summer Sei is now an SR Berserker, and despite being only Madness Enhancement D, she is completely out of her gourd. Maybe she was already this insane. Her attack is fairly median for Berserkers, HP's on the lower side, not like to the extremes, just kind of okay in all these areas. She has a Gorilla deck that's Quick Arts Buster, 3 busters, if you're not familiar with some of our longer-term terminology. Got average hit counts, and has very high NP gain because she's Oops All Buster. It's straight up 1% NP gain per attack. So, that's nifty. She has a single target quick NP, and much like her Archer version, it is a wash in trait damages. She gives herself a 50% damage buff against Lawful, and then against Shadow Servants for 1 turn first. And then the NP also has the OC buff that's applied first. Scaling damage versus man based on overcharge as well, which also starts at, like, 50%. So you've got multiple layers of trait damage, which lasts a whole turn. So, pretty normal stuff. Her first skill is also pretty normal for Berserkers with more selfish, big attacker kits. 20-30% attack for 3 turns on self, 20-30% crit damage on self for 3 turns, and a 10-20% battery. I appreciate that they included a battery at all, but it could be better. Her second skill is a 2 hits, 3 turns, sorry, reading my notes wrong. Evade, so the evade lasts 3 turns and has 2 hits on it. A 50-100% crit damage up for 1 turn on self, and an increase of Star Absorb. This means that when you have both her crit ups, they're a total of 130%, but only for the 1 turn. Final skill is a targetable buff. It gives an ally of your choice a 1k to 3k heal, depending on skill level. Makes that targeted ally immune to burn for 3 turns, and also generates 15 to 25 stars in a big blob. So her passives are, as I mentioned before, Madness Enhancement D, so her Buster cards are a little better. She has still her unique independent action, which makes her slightly more likely to get stars on her 1 quick card, though the ratio is a little lower because she's only got the 1. And she still has her 100% resistance to Charm. So she is not immune to Charm, but it is very likely that Charm effects will miss her unless they have, like, debuff success up, or she has debuff resist down or something. Anyway, Sei's use is pretty simple. She's here to punch bosses. If you get all 3 traits, you're looking at, like, minimum plus 150% damage on her NP and any card she has left that turn. She can also stack her crits pretty hard. Obviously, she's got a very low-level crit buff for multiple turns, but the 1 turn it's on and the 1 turn you get Star Absorb, which is very important on Berserkers focused on critical. You're going to be doing a lot of damage with that double crit damage as well. And as a Berserker with, lower HP, she has a hard defense and a heal, both of which are pretty good. Plus, the burn thing is situationally very useful. And she generates stars without needing to actually hit stars, which is good, because she's got Oops All Buster cards. The main thing is going to be that she's lacking a way to actually fire her NP. Yes, she has a 20% battery, and yes, she has very good NP charge. You still need to physically draw her Quick and Arts cards and have something else going on with them to make that actually matter. Good thing there's a notorious Quick supporter who's routinely running doubles who can give you a total of 100% battery. Yeah, for team comp, Scotty is a no-brainer for support here, even though Sei has more Buster cards than Quick cards. The battery option on Scotty and the defense down just gives you all the gas you need to get in there. Summer Scotty next year also has some Quick and Buster hybrid support, which Sei will appreciate. Similarly, you can also try regular Assassin Osakabe Hime for dual support, and otherwise I would just say you want battery givers, like, you want it, say, to actually be able to fire her NP on a boss or mid-boss and then suck up all the stars for a follow-up, you know? If they're not instantly killed. Now, for CEs, this is tricky. Since her battery is so small, I'd almost push for a K-scope, just so that she can always be ready with that quick fuck you button. But if you want to try something a bit more ambitious, there's a few options. There's quite a lot of 5-star CEs that have Buster and Quick up and about 50% battery just to get you started. 50% usually because that's about as good as you get from a CE that's not focused on starting with battery. I will warn you not to go all in on Quick, because while she does have a Quick NP, she doesn't have 3 Quick cards between her NP and her regular deck, so you can't do a Quick chain. So you don't want to, like, put all your eggs in the Quick basket. Keep other tricks like crit damage or NP-related things in mind. Her Ascension Mats also aren't too bad. They just add more to your shell tax, and the shell tax only goes up further with skills. She needs 12 shells per skill, 12 pomegranates per skill, and also 8 Oni Lanterns per skill, those new Oni Lantern fruits, which you can't even farm during this event, so watch out for that one. So, Say's going to get her banners now. She got her banner for this one, and she's going to get a banner during the rerun campaign next year. There's not an actual event rerun, but there is a campaign to get the banners back. And she's conspicuously absent from the new JP banner, which just dropped, which was clearing up a lot of summer raid-ups. Perhaps this means she's going to be on a banner later this year or something? And now we roll on to Summer Canis, who remains in the same rarity slot as they normally are, but is now a rider. Neat. Also, I've never done a lore wanted on Canis, so let's oversimplify greatly and just say that Canis' gender is probably one of the most twisty-turny ones we've got in this game. I'll probably default to a very neutral they, them, or just use a proper noun in this writing, and not weigh into any discourse. Anyway, Canis is trending towards the higher attack and lower HP for this slot. You know, gravitating towards the fringes, but not actually on either extreme. Quick Arts, Buster deck, above average hit counts, above average NP gain. Very solid. NP is a single target Buster. It increases NP damage by 20% for 3 turns first, and it gives 20% extra attack first on waterside fields, and then increases crit damage for 3 turns based on overcharge, starting at 50%. So, this is an NP that builds itself up a little bit to loop, and is even better on water. First skill is the old Beach Crisis. So this is a Charisma for 10 to 20% attack up for 3 for the whole team, and then increases the critical damage of male or unknown gender allies for 3 turns by 20 to 30%. Canis' class has the latter of those, so they do get the buff. Second skill is a pretty standard 20 to 30% Arts and Buster up on self for 3 turns, and also drops you 5 to 15 stars to get you started. You do only have 1 quick card. Final skill is a 1k to 3k Guts, 1 time 3 turns, obviously. Nothing unusual there. 5 to 10 stars per turn, and if you were on the water side, you get 3 turns of star absorption, on a rider, by the way, and another 5 to 10 stars per turn. So you double your stars per turn, and also you will definitely get all of those stars. A nice bonus, but not critical. Passives are writing EX for that 1 quick card. It will slap pretty good. And the Sea God Divinity variation, which gives you a little bit of damage plus, and also just some generic arts boost. I think it's like 8%. Honestly, compared to the absolute tank Lancer Canis is, my Lancer Canis is Grailed 290. The summer version is just kind of normal. It's a single target NP designed to loop around. You know, it grows every time you fire it off. You can stack up more NP buffs, more crit buffs, so that you can arts crit to get more MP buffs, etc., etc. Perfectly normal buffs to self and team, and has a Guts, though not the super high damage cut. The Waterside stuff isn't needed at all. Like, that's just an extra little thing, and Waterside is a pretty common field type. There's a lot of Summer Riders, so I don't think that Summer Canis really stands out too hard, but also is not awful or anything by any means. If you have not collected a lot of those earlier Summer Riders, if you're a newer player and have missed those banners, this is a perfect one to slot in. Ideally, you're going to use this for boss fights in the events or story, and you might need to punch through a couple break bars, so that kind of looping around strategy works pretty good. Team-wise, being kind of an Arts Buster hybrid gives you some flex. Merlin gives you extra crit damage. He can give you big NP amps and defensive options, obviously, with possible NP stars and health per turn, and also, obviously, Illusion is an amazing skill. Castoria will also make your arts cards really pop, has even more defenses and generalized combat amps. You can get attack ups on both of them, and Castoria can give you, you know, a trait damage, arts up on your arts cards, and also more hard defenses and stuff. Also general NP gain increase, which will be really good for Canis. Canis doesn't have any battery at all, so you can't really Buster reload. That you need to actually, like, fire a battery, reduce the cooldown of that battery to basically 0, and battery up again, so that you get multiple hundreds, basically. Canis can't do that. But Koyan will certainly help you get to the first NP and maybe to come back around during a long boss fight. Summer Canis is also non-hominid, but not animal traits despite the ears. What? So it's not a real synergy, but upcoming Koyan Skya of Dark doesn't get in Canis' way. Canis doesn't take the debuff for being hominid. Also, do keep an eye out. There are several servants coming up, and some Raelt already exists, who can make the field water for maximum output. You could probably do something interesting with a mixed node, or just trying to really beat up, some bosses or CQs where you just have, Melt make the battlefield water and do all her bullshit, and then Summer Canis is also doing Summer Canis' bullshit back and forth forever. CE-wise, again, a little awkward. There's a decent number of Arts and Buster amps, and some of those can be used to put you in the 50% range, which might be helpful for your chargers. Some of these also do stars per turn, which can fuel your arts crits, which I think is what the game wants you to do to get Summer Canis to max NP charge. I usually recommend the starting NP here so you can go to NP faster, but honestly, there's 100% from supports is a common enough strategy that you could drop it for different effects, but I do think that arts/buster effects are the way to go. Ascension is going to demand more shells and 24 chains, which is a brick and a half. And skills need, guess what? More chains! Do you need this for your harpoon, Canis? What is happening here? 36 chains per skill, to be precise, plus another 12 shells and 20 God Spiritrons. Whew, it's hard out there. Anyway, yeah, Summer Canis has a banner now, a banner next year, and then a banner in 2 years in the Hunting Quest campaign that just started in JP that I mentioned earlier. Canis is actually on that one. Neat. But what is with all these summer single targets? Anyway, time to move on to our big headliner. Kama is back as an SSR Avenger now, and she has the second highest attack, literally like 25 cents behind Jolter, and low HP, though not the lowest. So, very impressive stat line. Quick, Arts, Buster, average hit counts and NP gain. NP is pretty straightforward. It's an AoE Arts. It reduces enemies' defense by 20% for 3 turns after hitting, and deals bonus damage if they are charmed, increased by overcharge. First skill is a basic 20-30% Arts up on self for 3 turns, and at 2 hits, 3 turns evade. Second skill is to set up the MP. This is 10-20% NP damage for 3 turns, and a 50-100% chance to charm all enemies. Final skill is a 30-50% self battery, and gives you an on-attack debuff to give enemies a stack of Blazing Heart, or some other translation thereof, that I haven't really been paying close enough attention to actually see what it's called. But anyway, it puts a bad stack on the enemy, and also gives Kama a damage up buff for 3 turns, which is 10% times the number of blazing stacks, damage increased, so also solid. As a Beast Venture, Kama has a lot of passives. You have the perfectly normal magic resistance writing A from her Assassin time. She also then has Avenger B and Oblivion Correction B for various things, the crit up, the passive NP gain, or rather the defensive NP gain, because the other thing that's the actual passive NP gain is Self-Replenishment A, which means she generates 3.8 NP% per turn. This usually translates into gaining 4% because FGO rounds, but hypothetically, I think it could roll over depending on some other stuff as well. Her independent manifestation is down to E, but you still get a little bit of that extra crit and resistances. And the Demon King's Essence? Or Demon King's Essence? However you want to interpret the question mark. Gives her a little bit of the Divinity Damage Plus and a complete immunity to Charm. Yes, this is the difference between her and Sei. Sei gets 100% resistance to Charm. Kama is just, immune to Charm. Love these little debuff touches, though, that are very cute. So, we've gone from completely average single-target units who might either be considered a little behind or a little ahead of the meta curve to the, hey, that's pretty good zone. Obviously, Summer Sei and Summer Canis are perfectly useful units, and if you use them correctly in a team comp, they're going to slap bosses pretty hard. But if you thought we were done with the arts loop stuff, nah, man, we're here. Summer Kama has an attack stat in the Jolter dimension, multiple ways to amp her own damage, and has an NP that is designed to loop. Just like how I'm pretty sure Summer Canis is supposed to go back into that Sea Serpent again and again. Summer Kama has an NP that straight up gives enemies a defense down debuff that keeps stacking up. And all that means is just, we're so back. Kama works not just on farming, but also on tougher content too. She has a hard defense, she's got some stun-like potential, and still plays well for the grind in order to take a team to break down multiple break bars. Just remember, some bosses in challenge quests are immune to charm or all debuffs for mostly Urali reasons. So in these cases, while, again, that native attack stat is very good, Kama's not going to be able to go as crazy if you can't charm enemies first. So, with team comp in mind, Kama seems tailor-made for the Castoria meta. She has a 50% battery all her own, she regens NP per turn, and she's big chillin' for natural NP gain and inherent art buffs. Plus, on the crackback, she gets a lot of NP as well. If you want to spice it up, you can also use Tamo. Tamo will help alleviate Kama's slightly longer than average cooldowns to give you some more healing and NP output as well. And while not highly crit focused, Lady Avalon being Blue Merlin next year also won't hurt because Kama does have some passives that amp crit damage, so you can make that work. Plus, you can track in your budget art supports as well. Paracelsus, the Friends, works out there. Now for CEs, we are once again in the 50% range. That means you can perform all of our classic favorites. As an aside, do you think I owe Fino royalties every time I mention Golden Sumo? But there's lots of arts-themed summers 50% battery CEs too. All kinds of funny things you can do here. You're going to want to go in on that arts for sure. But since you're probably going to use some kind of Castoria combo, you can just go down to 0% and do what everybody does and throw that Black Grail in. Does wonders for Avengers trying to hit that big one. Also, her Bond CE is pretty funny too, actually. It gives everybody on the squad 30% extra damage to charmed enemies. Charm Gang, let's go! I don't know if there is a Charm Gang comp, but with Summer Kama, you might be able to find it. As an Avenger, Kama's Ascension mats are non-standard. They shouldn't be too pricey on their own, but they will add up over time if you're rolling a lot of Summer units and ascending them. But her skill mats are a little bit more manageable, lacking gems at all, but it does mean we cut out the middleman, so you are looking at, once again, 12 shells per skill, 15 stand arrows per skill, 15 rainbow yarns per skill, and 15 comet shards per skill. Yeesh. Luckily you can farm some of those events, but damn. And you should know the banner score by now. You've got, right now, 1 year, 2 years. Plus, as a limited SSR, she'll be featured in every single Lucky Bag GSSR campaign from now on, at least that we've so far seen. That's not necessarily true for Summers, Canis, and Say, because they are SRs. That means only certain campaigns offer them. But there you go. That's Wanted 100, and also your 5 minutes of fame each on the second wave of New Summer bannerets going on. Hopefully I wasn't too rushed or clipped there, but like I said, sore throat, trying to fight through it and get this video up in a timely manner. With that all out of the way, do make sure to leave your likes and comments, as always. Make sure to sub to the channel for even more Wanteds in the future that are new. You can also check our backlogs if you're interested in a Wanted on Ashia Doman, for instance, who's going to have a banner coming up in the not-too-distant future, among other things. And you can also join our channel memberships to get access to membership badges and emotes. If you want to maybe leave some special members-only emote swag in the comments to celebrate number 100. And consider joining us on Patreon. You could have gotten this episode early, and lots of other things are going on there, and it's really a great time. Now, if you excuse me, I've got to go warm up my rolling hand. And before we go, a special shout-out to our patrons, especially to Adam Hark, Blacklist OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Fighty Icebird, Jeremy Vasquez, JDV9000, Justin the Fae, Jonathan Sandoval, Chris Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Charvor, Sean Pryor, Some Guy Named Bob, and Varian the Crow. If you want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you for support, everybody.